became the comedian other comedians love to watch.
Do we even need a Supreme Court? You know, it's like everyone's always like, every vote counts, a nation of millions. Every vote is important. But for the big decisions, how many people do you need? 9.
One of the last of the great street comics I called because I look at him and he gives me that feeling that if he was on a street corner and people walking by, he could always be funny.
Cops all talk like black kids, and black kids all talk like cops because they're in the same neighborhood. You don't see any cop, they pull a kid over, it's like, oh, my man, nobody's trying to sweat you, come here. Yeah, they always give him a little nickname. Hey, Tupac, come here for a second, I want to go. Ooh, what are you doing? Oh, you're representing and he's perpetrating, or how do you work it? Well, he perpetrates and you represent, what are you doing here? Big pimping, huh? All right. And all the black kids, they talk like cops. You know, anytime there's a cop incident, they're on the sidelines giving you the whole lowdown. No, that's a 415. He ain't gonna take him in for that. No, they gotta let him go. No, that's the lieutenant. He don't get out of the car. You're gonna make the sergeant go. Yeah.
You want to hang out with him.
You do.
Yeah,
That
you do.
kind of a thing. I'm not much of a hanger out because I'm alone,
And-
but him I'd like to hang out with.
I knew him when he was a fat, bloated, alcoholic bartender.
You did?
Yeah, back in the
You
day.
always know the people at the right time.
You can always tell who's raised in New York by how they take a compliment when they're an adult. You know, you're like, hey, nice haircut. Screw you, what's wrong with it?
Number 55.
It's back to me now.
Back to Pasquale.
Pasquale. Alan
Alan
King.
King. Oh, look at that picture.
Alan King. He brought smart Jewish humor from the Borscht Belt to America. As head of the Friars Club, he's now an elder statesman of comedy.
Alan King did maybe 100 Sullivan shows. The guy was great. I mean, tell a story, he was great.
Right.
Right after World War II, or as my mentor Ed Sullivan once said on live television, reading from a cue card, World War I.
Did he ever talk about being a Jew? Because he was known as one of the Borscht
Well,
Belt
I'm
guys.
sure.
Yeah.
I never met a Jewish comic that didn't talk about his ethnic background. Because
Right.
I grew up, all the comics were Jewish.
Right.
Yeah.
Somebody please tell me, what the hell does a mirror above the bed do for you? Does it turn you on? It does? Well, that's what I'm looking for. I don't want to see what I'm doing. I like to remember the way it was. In my mind, I'm Robert Redford. I look up, there's a fat old Jew laying there. I want to kill myself.
Alan King was at one time, in my opinion, one of the best monologists on the planet. He had a great mind. His material was always up to date, very classy.
Said everybody wants to know why and how Minnie and I stayed married for 65 years. He said, hate kept us together. He said, we'll never die. We wouldn't give the other one the satisfaction.
Coming up next,
A gangbanger turned stand-up,
The guy is so smart.
Oh, they're genius gang members, though.
a colorblind comic,
He's an actor who happens to be black,
Black,
like I think Mario is, like I think Greg is.
Right.
Yeah.
and a comic with pimp tendencies.
So he comes in, he's got this mink coat,
Yep,
it's
that's
all
the-
white, all white.
Next, on Comedy Central's 100 Greatest Stand-Ups of All Time.
Welcome back to Comedy Central's 100 Greatest Stand-Ups of All Time.
Number 54.
Our next comedian. Wonder why I keep getting all the black comedians. D.L. Hughley.
That was just,
Oh, I like to.
Is it coincidental?
Yeah.
Or?
White folk get anorexia. I'm too fat. I won't eat anything. I want to lose weight. Black folk, when we get anorexia, it's on accident. Somebody done around and lost their job.
D.L. Hughley. This former gang member quit the life and hit the stage. Earning props for his hard-edged humor, one of the kings of comedy, he's gone from the streets to the suburbs with his own sitcom, The Hughleys.
I remember when we was growing up, everybody mama wore that house coat. Remember that? Lost the string, had to hold it together. Get your black ass in this house. Mama, why don't you get in the house looking like that? Everybody know you my mama, that's why I'm fighting in school every damn day.
Very funny. He likes to tell stories about his family and growing up black.
Uh-huh. What else is new?
The
That's
thing
the
I
first
love
one,
about
huh?
the thing I love about DL is that he was in a gang. He was
Right,
for many
right.
years. The guy is so smart.
Well, they're
Warren.
genius gang members, though.
No, but
There are.
I bet there are.
Yeah.
But he knows what's going on politically. He's just well-read and he's funny.
Black folk and Latin folk, we got a whole different relationship with the police, don't you? You ever let the police follow you so long you get suspicious of your damn self, maybe? Maybe I did kill them people.
Oh, he's a
Funny guy.
terrific
One of the
comic.
kings of
And he's a
comedy.
great comic.
He's the future. These young
He's
guys
a
are the
terrific
future.
actor.
And he's a nice person as well.
That's good.
Number 53.
Okay, who's the next comedian?
David Brenner.
David Brenner.
And I heard two men reminiscing, and one of them said to the other, "Geez, last week we buried Harry Sills. It was horrible." And the other one said, "Oh, did Harry die?" "No, we just buried him. That's what's so horrible."
David Brenner. He made the line, "Have you ever noticed?" the catchphrase of observational comedy. Spontaneous and brilliant, it's no surprise that after 30 years, he's still funnier than ever.
Did how many Carson appearances?
About 100.
162.
No, really?
Yes.
That's
That's right.
amazing.
I pulled that out of my
amazing.
ass, but we'll go with that.
Okay, I think
you really
it's
make
actually,
Federal conviction.
I think it's
162.
Honest to God, I think it's 178.
I'm sitting on a subway, and I'm sitting on a newspaper, and a man comes over, he says, "You reading that paper?" I said yes, stood up, turned the page, and sat down again. Thank you.
He's one of those guys that people say he's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
Well, I think that says something.
I was once hosting a Catch a Rising Star. He comes in, he's got this mink coat, and I said, "What do you want me to say to bring you up?" And he goes, "Don't bring me up." The person who's on gets off stage, and the audience is all like, "Oh, what's going on? Who is there?" And he slowly walks on stage, and everyone's like, does his act.
Every president we had was a loser. Everyone. Starting with George Washington, the wooden teeth. What a beauty he must have been. And what about his wife, Martha? What kind of life did this poor woman have? Come on, George, take him out for an hour. Got splinters in my thighs. The whole neighbor's talking.
And then at the end of his act, he says, "Any questions? Anyone have any questions?" This young kid in the back raises his hand and goes, "Yeah, I got a question. Who are you?"
That's true.
And Andrew Jackson suffered from severe diarrhea. Now, how do they know this? He's been dead over 100 years from hair sampling. Let me tell you something. It was in his hair. It was severe.
Number 52.
Okay, our next comedian is... I worked with this guy.
You did? Mm-hmm. Good.
I actually had sex with him. And then I became a lesbian. Damon Wayans.
I'm a comedian. Hey, there's a rule in my house. If it's funny, you ain't in trouble. The most I can say is, hey, work on your timing, boy.
Damon Wayans. His outrageous characters on In Living Color launched his career, but his hysterical views about parenting and family life earned him a spot on our list.
You want a man to please you? You just lay there and don't say nothing. Just lie down and hum on his ass. Make phone calls. Hi, Ma. Oh, nothing. Nothing at all, you know?
One of the 3 or 4 funniest Wayans brothers.
Yeah.
Out of the 9.
You're right.
Mike Tyson got upset. I didn't want to make that nigga mad, you know? Keenan did him. My brother did an impression of him, and Mike thought it was me. I swear, I walked out of the store, he was with Tommy Hearns. I walk out the store, Mike goes, "There he is!"
He's funny. I saw him at the Cellar, and he was trying to get a new act. And you just saw the genesis of the bit, and then I saw him a few months later doing the bit, and it was just incredible.
I mean, Mike is the man. Mike came up to me and said, "Listen, I want to you in your ass." The toughest thing I could say back is, "For how long?"
He came to see me at the Irvine Improv last week, and he said to me, "Did I make the 100?"
Did he
I said,
really?
"I think so."
No
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. I didn't know yet. I said, "I think you did."
Damon, now that you made this $13 million, and we're not counting, now that you made all this money, let me ask you this. Let me just throw this out at you. You respond any way you want. Is there racism in America? You be sitting there thinking about that paycheck, talking about, "No, sir." If in there is, I ain't seen none.
Coming up next.
One pissed off stand-up.
He really personified the angry comic.
I'm the angry comic. You ain't taking that away from me. What are you kidding me?
And a Boston Loudmouth.
He is a great performer and he's got great attitude.
Next on Comedy Central's 100 Greatest Stand-Ups of All Time. Welcome back to Comedy Central's 100 Greatest Stand-Ups of All Time. Number 51.
I don't think I can do him because I love him too much. Ooh.
I love Lewis.
There is no discussion!
Lewis Black. His raving delivery and political commentary makes this stand-up a favorite with audiences and a perfect fit on The Daily Show with Jon Stewart. Lewis's legendary ranting makes him a fan favorite. Just don't get on his bad side.
Jesse Ventura is basically proof that the people of Minnesota are not social drinkers. They are obviously alcoholics.
He's nothing like his stage persona, but this is what really got him, him doing the, finger.
There's no reason to bodybuild. None. That's why God gave us the International House of Pancakes. Because you'll always feel good about your body when you go there, no matter what your body is. Because there's always someone there who weighs 350 pounds more than you'll ever weigh.
He's also a guy who's able to do sort of political and current stuff, but kill with people who aren't necessarily totally up on all the political stuff.
What is the difference between a Democrat and a Republican? A Democrat blows, a Republican sucks.
He really personified the angry comic.
I'm the angry comic. You ain't taking that away from me. What are you kidding me?
Is oral sex adultery? Yes!
You don't do your fingers like that.
I do my elbows. Here.
He personified the angry comic with material.
All this country needs is a guy in the White House who's willing to get a Hummer every now and then. And I think I'm just the man for the job. Thank you.
Number 50.
Okay, our next comedian, Chris Leary.
People go, yeah, but you eat red meat. It stays in your colon for 15 years. Good, I paid for it. I want it in my ass, okay?
Dennis Leary. A raw and in-your-face stand-up who rants on everything that pisses him off. This angry Boston native has turned his rage into TV and film stardom.
I remember when he started out and he was doing stand-up and he started from Boston and he would get on stage with a cigarette and he was also like Lewis Black, kind of this angry type thing. But what really made him a star was he went to England and they just loved him in England.
Yeah,
and
he was a fish out of water.
And then he came back to the United States and he kind of had made it.
I'm not happy. Nobody's happy, okay? Happiness comes in small doses, folks. It's a cigarette or a chocolate chip cookie or a 5-second orgasm. That's it, okay? You eat the cookie, you smoke the butt, you go to sleep, you get up in the morning and go to work, okay?
But he's a great performer. He is a great performer, and he's got great attitude. He had his attitude that you clearly knew who he was. He started popping with that MTV stuff with the 2 words for you, and it's memorable.
And when it comes to crack, I got a little piece of advice for you folks. Never do a drug named after a part of your own ass, okay?
He's someone who, took his stand-up out of the clubs and then and into a theater and made a one-person show.
I love living in New York, man. And people who live in New York, we wear that fact like a badge right on our sleeve because we know that fact impresses everybody. I was in Vietnam. So what? I live in New York. Really?
Number 49.
Worst.
Freddie Prinze.
Freddie Prinze, yeah.
People have the wrong impression of Puerto Ricans. To hear some people tell it, you think that we were responsible for cockroaches. We didn't bring them here. There was no guy in Puerto Rico with a jar of them for each of us. Okay, you release this in New York, you go to Chicago, Los Angeles.
Freddie Prinze. This Puerto Rican Jew was only 19 when he hit it big. His urban humor about the streets of New York struck a chord across America and made him a star.
You ever step on a roach, you hear them snap, as soon as you lift your foot, they run like hell. That's because they know that we think the snap means they're dead and end up foot going, jerk!
Freddie Prinze was it's one of the first comedians that Carson called over to sit down on the couch, which was a really big deal.
Is that a fact?
Really?
Was he the first Latino?
He was the first. I think he was the first Latin. He was before Paul Rodriguez. He was the first Latino guy that was part of that crop of newer.
But can I also say, he was doing that, although his father was Jewish.
Yep. That's true. People
That's
don't know.
right.
He was Hungarian, right?
His father was a Hungarian Jew.
That's a weird thing to be, too, as a Hungarian, because I couldn't figure how my parents met, you know, a Gypsy and a Puerto Rican. I asked my mother, she said they were on a bus trying to pick each other's pocket.
Prince skyrocketed to superstardom with the hit sitcom Chico and the Man, but his success was cut short by problems with drugs and his eventual suicide.
He died very young. It's very unfortunate.
22 years old, killed
He
himself.
was on his way to big things.
22.
Yeah.
He was really successful.
He's 22?
Yeah.
Not a lot of there's no 22-year-olds on this list.
No.
Hip. And here's a guy at 22 years old, no longer with us, and now he's on the top 100. That's a pretty good compliment.
Coming up next.
A comic who loves to play with his tools
I never got it because I didn't really relate to it.
And
because
you're black.
I never used tools.
No, I
and
didn't either, but I...
and a giant star who's still rising.
He hasn't reached his real peak yet, I
Yeah.
think. He's going to be like a Jim Carrey.
Next on Comedy Central's 100 Greatest Stand-Ups of
Welcome back to Comedy Central's 100 Greatest Stand-Ups of All Time.
Number 48.
Tim Allen.
Oh, Tim.
The weirdest habit men have is lighting farts. I never figured this thing out. There's not a man in here hadn't had a blue flame shooting out of his butt one time or another.
Tim Allen. A comic for the average Joe.
No matter how macho a man you are, you'll never go in the purse. Where are the keys to the car? In my purse.
He charmed audiences with his macho comedy about tools and the men who love them.
Huge before he even got on TV. Though. I was supposed to open for him. I was like, I'm not opening for Tim Allen. He said, this guy's really big. I go to see the show, packed.
Oh, yeah.
I saw the birth. The birth thing. Why are men in there? I have no idea. Watching this, honey. Oh, man. That's gotta hurt, huh?
I saw his stand-up. I thought it was wonderful. He had different subject matter. He was in a class of his own.
Yeah, he did 12 minutes on Showtime that actually turned his career completely around.
Burping is a family event at my house. Hey, Dave, how's that soup?
He owned what he said.
Right.
That's the beauty part of it, because nobody picked up on that. Tim Allen said, this is it, talks about machinery, whatever he talks about. It's like people say, I can do this. And you can't do me. You can have the material.
Right.
Take it. But you can't be me. I'm selling
I can do you.
No, you can't. I swear to God you can't.
I can.
I swear to God I can.
You're too short for your height.
I got a Corvette this year. I always wanted a Corvette. My Aunt Rose, the feminist, she's just so angry. Because I got a Corvette. Oh, it's just a symbol of aggression. It's just a vet. It's an American sports car. It's just an extension of the penis. Oh, I wish.
He hit a nerve somewhere in America, the blue-collar guy, boom.
That's a curious thing about men. You can outline your tools effectively, but can't keep those brown stains out of your rear end.
Number 47.
It's your time, Dom. Let me see who you came up with.
Take my wife, please.
An original. Oh, this guy, I can hear him say, take my wife, please, every day of my life and fall down.
Take my wife, please.
Kenny Youngman. He made a career out of playing the violin badly and delivering an endless barrage of rapid-fire one-liners.
Why do Jewish guys die before their wives? They want to. Why don't Jews drink? It interferes without suffering.
Well, he used to go to the Friars for lunch every single day, and he used to sit in the corner at this one table by himself.
Bad posture.
And at first he'd pick up his coffee and he'd go like that. Then he'd pick up his coffee and he'd be like this.
Yeah.
And then he'd just like, it would just be like,
Gene
until
Bayless.
it was, and no reaction.
They put the Polish rapist in the police lineup. The girl walks in, he says, that's her.
I remember when I was a kid and you first started hearing it, felt really old and dated. It felt kind of corny in a way.
Right.
But if you watch the tapes now,
I
unbelievable. Some of those jokes are just
Rodney
so
Dangerfield. Funny.
Two Polish guys walking in the woods once said, look at a dead bird. He said, where?
How many comics do you watch and you just laugh out loud? I was
still makes you
literally
laugh.
laughing out loud.
Great comedian.
Jewish man gets hit by a car. They're waiting for the ambulance. The cop takes his jacket off. He covers him. He says, you're comfortable? He says, I make a nice living.
Number 46.
I'm not that dope. I'm not. I finished a big book the other day, 421 pages. That's a lot of coloring, when you think about it there.
Adam Sandler. This former Saturday Night Live cast member and current movie superstar started performing stand-up at 17 and never grew up. He quickly found an audience with his offbeat humor and juvenile sing-alongs.
One thing I don't miss when my mom would rub the Vicks Vapor Rub on me, and then that was an awkward moment, you know, when she would rub the Vicks Vapor Rub on my chest. That was kind of weird, you know, awkward for me and my mother. She's rubbing it on my chest, you know, we're making eye contact occasionally. It's kind of like, you know, Mom, we're just good friends, right? You know, I'm not saying I did anything with my mother. I'm just saying I think I could have, you know.
He's wonderful. Saturday Night Live, he was great. His movies are wonderful.
I love the Jew.
I was at the beach today. Saw a cute girl on the beach in the water, looking very nice. Said to myself, gee, I better get this girl. She's a good-looking one. So I dove in the ocean, gave this girl a little GQ pose action. I gave her this one right here. I said, how you doing? She said, fine. I said, my name's Adam. She said, well, Adam, you got snot coming out of your nose.
I remember when he used to go to catch, and he used to come in, he'd have sweatpants on and like some disgusting ripped T-shirt, and I'm like, and Louis Ferranda, who, you know, booked the Catch a Rising Star, used to say, he's going to be a star, I'm telling you. And I'm like, Louis, he's wearing sweatpants, he's got like a ripped shirt, he's 14 years old. P.S.
I was
Adam
surprised
Sandler.
when he got Saturday Night Live, and I think he deserved it. I had no idea he was that talented.
Being Jewish in a non-Jewish town was the worst. Yeah, I played on the church league basketball. I was the only Jew on the team. Every time I'd walk out on the court, they'd blow the whistle. Foul! I was like, I didn't do anything. You killed Jesus.
He hasn't reached his real peak yet, I don't think.
He's a good actor. I think
he's got a lot of... He's going to be like a Jim Carrey, going to do some
Bill
dramatic
Murray
thing.
type.
Hello?
I'll leave you with what my pop always used to tell me growing up. Laugh, and the world laughs with you. Cry, and I'll give you a reason to cry, you little pansy. Thank you very much.
Coming up next.
A miserable comedian.
His act is him. He walks on stage, the same person off stage.
A beloved bitch.
One of the first female stand-ups, and she was also like a queen of the one-liners.
And a natural-born storyteller.
He could just stand up there and talk, and people just love listening to him.
Next, on Comedy Central's 100 Greatest Stand-Ups of All Time.
Welcome back to Comedy Central's 100 Greatest Stand-Ups of All Time.
Number 45.
All right, here's a guy that made a career on one subject.
Right.
And I think that's the toughest thing to do. Consistently talking about the same thing. Richard Lewis.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know where to begin. I have a lot on my mind and yet very little confidence to say it with, unfortunately, but...
Richard Lewis, a stand-up fueled by angst with an unhealthy dose of neurosis thrown in. He built a career turning misery and self-loathing into laughs.
It's almost like these introductions at college football games. It's almost like, hi, Cousin Richard, manic depressive, table 2, and we walk over there.
How long has he been doing that psychiatry thing? I mean, and continually getting laughs and just staying with it, not giving up on it?
My grandfather was in this Yiddish circus. He was a Jewish juggler. He used to worry about 6 things at once. That was his big thing.
Also, like, if you watch those old specials of his, they still feel totally current. And he was one of the first guys, I think, I mean, to do that self-absorbed kind of comedy and make it funny and interesting to other people.
And being ambivalent, you know, with women, it's hurt me with masturbation. It's tragic, but even when I masturbate, I take a home pregnancy test, which is unbelievable.
His act is him.
Yeah.
You know, like when you said Lewis is not like his act. He walks on stage, the same person off stage.
That's right.
Just neurotic. And he's one of those guys, you say to him, Richie, you look a little green today. Really, do I? And he'll sit down and get nervous.
And she cheated on me. I'm very monogamous, and she cheated. I got this rash, I don't know, this, whatever it was, but I hated this rash I got, this yeast feast, whatever it is, yeast infection. I didn't know whether to go to a doctor or to a baker. I didn't know who to go to.
Number 44.
Joan Rivers. Joan Rivers is hilarious.
One of a kind.
You want to see Captain Hepburn during an earthquake?
Joan Rivers. She's the queen of the bitchy barb and has been going strong as a fixture of television comedy and a Vegas headliner since the 1960s.
I had Martina Navratilova on my show, very feminine. Hello, Joan. She was tough. She used a brick for a tampon.
Joan Rivers was, I think, one of the first female stand-ups, and she was a great writer. And she was also like a queen of the one-liners.
My husband never said I wasn't good, but I could tell. Once I said to him, why don't you call out my name while we're making love? He said, I don't want to wake you up. It was just...
She's a writer. She knows where she's going, and she's always fresh. Material-wise, I'm saying.
Right.
And her face is getting younger looking.
Yeah.
No, that was with a blowtorch.
The only time a silent fart will give you away is if you're wearing pantyhose, because then the ankles blow up.
She's a smart woman. She's a smart
She will
businesswoman.
survive till she dies. And she has bought plastic surgery where it belongs, in plastic.
She will live until she lives no more.
Let me get my laugh, you pain in the ass.
Number 43.
Okay, our next comic.
Live until she
Our
dies.
next this guy.
You adore.
Yeah, I do adore.
I figured.
Funny, original.
Okay.
And a great guy, Dave Chappelle.
Oh, I love Dave Chappelle.
I thought it was my picture. Damn it.
Dave Chappelle. With his eye for social satire, this laid-back comic has become a breakout star of the stand-up comedy circuit and host of his own hilarious Chappelle's Show.
Bill Clinton made the news less fearful. He made it hot and sexy. He did. I jerked off to 60 Minutes. That Kathleen Willie interview was hot, hot, hot. The president called me into his office. He began massaging my breast slowly. And then he placed my hand on his genitals. Ed Bradley was like, oh. Was he aroused? I was at home like, yeah, was he aroused? And then Ed Bradley looked right in the camera and said, don't bust that nut yet. We'll be right back.
Dave started really, really young.
Yeah.
But was sort of, he's like an old soul.
He's got every tool that you need as a stand-up. He's a great writer. He's super smart.
Right.
He's also a pure natural that can just stand on stage.
Yeah.
People watch him. People love him.
Could you imagine what kind of world it would be if people just said whatever they wanted to racially? I mean, like you'd be walking up the street and a black guy come up to you, hello, you white devil. You're rapist of Africa. Why, hello, my big lip spear chucking friend. So what did you do today, Whitey, huh? Oppress a new land and make the people there Christians? Oh, and what did you do? Burn your big black lips on a crack pipe as you missed your job interview?
Yeah, and he's very unassuming. Yeah,
He's just, people just listen to him. He go on stage and just talk. You know, a lot of guys that are working out new stuff will just ramble along and it'll be very boring. He could just stand up there and talk, and people just love listening to him.
My plane got hijacked. It was very scary. Everyone was certain they were gonna die. But not me. Terrorist has never taken a black hostage in the history of the world. Call up the White House, hello? We have got 5 black people. Hello?
He has peaked, and he will peak again. That's a fact. He has peaked, and he will peak again. But his peak will peak. You understand me?
Yes.
Now let's go back to Joan Rivers.
He has peaked, and he will peak again.
Coming up next, a comic pioneer with great legs.
Any man that wears woman's clothes starts to get on my nerves. You understand me?
And the man more Americans get their fake news from than any other source.
He's the best sit-down comic on the planet.
Next on Comedy Central's 100 Greatest Stand-Ups of All Time. Welcome back to Comedy Central's 100 Greatest Stand-Ups of All Time. Number 42.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Woo! Flip Wilson! Geraldine!
What you see is what you get.
Flip Wilson. He brought counterculture to the mainstream, breaking racial barriers while delivering laughs, hosting his own Flip Wilson show in the 1970s.
The fact he's a black man on TV.
It reminds me of Eddie
well,
Izzard.
was very
Same.
As black men had a variety shows.
Right.
And I love Geraldine.
That was amazing. That was groundbreaking.
Yeah, it was.
You got a bad shoulder, a bad rib, 2 bad knees, and a broken wrist. Honey, you should have left before her husband got there.
No, it was ball breaking. To you, it was groundbreaking. To me, it was ball breaking.
To me, it was groundbreaking.
Any man that wears woman's clothes starts to get on my nerves. You understand me?
Character,
I don't like it. That's not a character anymore. That's a semi.
Great.
Don't ever hit me again in front of my
sorry.
Italian friends.
He had nice legs for a man.
Yeah, you're right.
You look better than you do on the television. You look better than that. How'd you like to lose lose 5 pounds real fast.
Here's a guy that made one joke go for 7, 8 minutes.
Yeah.
I loved him for that.
I never saw his stand-up, but I remember
saw
when I
it.
was a little kid, his show was...
Yeah.
I love the Flip Wilson show.
In the round. He did it in the round.
The woman's watching. She said, what are you looking at? The guy said, I'm looking at that ugly baby. That's a bad-looking baby, lady. That's a heck of a kid you got there. I said, I bet you save a lot of money with that baby. You don't have to hire a babysitter. No one's going to bother that kid.
He left this planet too fast, and he died suddenly.
Flip Wilson, legend.
All right, give me this.
Wilson,
He is a legend. Flip, wherever you are, you're up there because you're
God
great.
bless you.
Number 41.
Here's a guy, not only a good-looking kid, see, it's very difficult to be a good-looking comic. To
I
be
know.
handsome.
I
Very
know.
difficult.
Don't be the common man. Be better than us. You want to be president? Be better than us. Lead us. We don't know shit. We've been swept away by the Macarena. What the f*** do we know?
Jon Stewart. This thinking man's stand-up used his quick wit and satirical edge to land a job hosting The Daily Show with Jon Stewart. When he's not anchoring the fake news, Jon tells it like it is, performing thought-provoking
The
stand-up.
Republicans, honestly, they blame the problems of the country on all the wrong things. Entertainment, rap music. You can't let the kids hear the rap music, because they'll hear the lyrics and then they'll go out and commit the crimes that they hear in the songs. What is that? What's the correlation between lyrics and action? Christ, Julie Andrews sang Climb Every Mountain. I don't go hiking every weekend. It's a song.
This guy is great. He's the best sit-down comic on the planet. Don't stand up, John. Sit down.
Stay there.
Because you come
Stay in the
across,
seat.
you're beautiful, you're thinking, you're going, you know where you are.
Nevertheless, it is indeed true Howard Dean did not have a black or brown in any position in his cabinet during his 4 years as governor of Vermont. A fact confirmed by Vermont's minority population, a.k.a. Eddie.
He was someone who got really successful really quickly, but he had the goods to back it up.
And very well liked.
Yeah.
That's such a great thing when people like him. And I say that to him. I said, people like you, ain't got a problem.
Every major religion began in Israel. Christianity, Judaism, and Islam all began in Israel. All began in Jerusalem. All began within like a 2-block radius of each other. Jesus, Mohammed, and Moses all went to the same high school. There will never be peace there.
He talked about being Jewish and his real name's John Leibowitz, but he changed it to John
Oh,
Stewart.
you're kidding. I didn't know that.
A lot of people don't even know he's Jewish. He's so likable.
Jews and blacks come from the same history. 2,000 years of bullshit. We've just expressed our suffering differently as people. Blacks developed the blues. Jews complain, we just never thought of putting it to music. It's very similar.
He's a great comic, but he's also got that innate thing where he's just, the crowds just love him.
He's a TV man for the rest of his life. And you know something, he's a good-looking guy. He can get on a horse. He can say giddy up and get away with it.
On the next episode of Comedy Central's 100 Greatest Stand-Ups of All Time, the countdown continues with Bill Maher, Martin Lawrence, Stephen Wright, and Dennis Miller. Thanks for watching. You've been a great crowd. Try the veal. It's delicious.
Wait a minute. 80% of the people we talked about are Jewish. I didn't see one Italian in here yet. They said, man, I'm the only Italian sitting here. We're not like Italians.
You weren't in it today?
No?
No.